We're revolutionaries, you know?
Is that the way you'd see yourself?
Yeah, I see myself as a revolutionary who don't have no help and not take no bribe.
Alright, folks, welcome to the first chapter of Urbantoons Radio. I'm your most gracious and humble, very, very humble host, King Kiel, and this is the first show. The reason for Urbantoons Radio is to give my actual supporters, my followers, and people who help support this movement, a brief background of Urbantoons, me, the author, the founder, who I am. For a long period of time, let me turn this down. For a long period of time, people were thinking that I was a black face on a white company. I'm like, huh? I would do events and go different places, and people would straight up and ask me, it's like, well, can I ask you a question? I'm like, sure. She's like, are you the owner of this? I'm like, yes, I am. She's like, are you sure? I look at him, side eye. Of course I'm sure. Well, the reason I'm asking because I was just making sure you weren't the black face on a white brand, the black faced on a white company. I'm like, no, I'm a black face with a black company, and it's 100% black owned. It's sad that I have to keep stressing that, but it's not, because it gives me the confidence to move forward, to know I'm going the right direction. If they think somebody's funding my movement and I'm the only one funding this movement, hey, thank you, kudos. But yeah, I'm gonna give people like a background of who I am. You know, I've done podcasting, let me see, like 10 years ago. The word podcasting is like so old. You know, I've done podcasting, I've done radio, AM radio, which was pretty cool, but that all stemmed from podcasting. I recorded like 60 episodes when podcasts really started back in the day. Then somebody picked my show up and I was on the radio. That was pretty cool, but that was short-lived because I was really, I had my own show, but I had to pay for airtime. That's not bad, cool. But I was reaching more people online than I was reaching on the AM radio show. I'm in the Philadelphia area, so basically I'm reaching people who are in the tri-state area, Delaware, Jersey, Philadelphia. I'm like, well, why am I paying for time and I'm only reaching people in such a small, vast of area compared to reaching people globally with my show before? That was strike one. Strike two was, now I'm hampered with what I can say. Meaning, you know, that he had the FCC regulations and stuff like that. And me personally, I don't like to be constricted or limited to what I have to say. Now, with this children's book movement, I have to, you know, censor myself to, you know, an extent, which is cool. I don't mind that. But I did mind have to pay for my own airtime, and I was actually hampered and censored to an extent where I couldn't say but so much without getting the radio station sued. So, like I said, that was very, very short-lived. Here comes Swahili. It took me a while just to get this equipment back up and running and trying to figure out how to tweak the certain buttons in the mixer and the computer and putting all this stuff together. This show right now, I had to get back into production mode. What you said, it was 10 years ago since I actually cut this microphone on and turned on this program and cut back on these mixers and plug in this microphone just to get back into the mix of recording. So I'm gonna give you a briefing on who I am. You know, I go by the pen name of Kiel Eben Ibrahim. I'm gonna break the meaning of that because people are like, what does that mean? Everything in Urbantoons has a meaning, a significant meaning, even with the name Kiel Eben Ibrahim. Now, the key, K-I, and was it Ki represents earth. Earth, and it represents energy. So when I took the Ki, Ki is earth and energy. L is actually God. God in Hebrew. They say Elion, Elion El, or Eli, or Elo, Elohim. El represents God in Hebrew. Eben is black. Ibrahim is Arabic for Abraham. He was the father of many nations. So when I picked the name Kiel Eben Ibrahim, it's energy, God, black, and the father of many nations. So when I, had the idea for that in my wacky Aquarian mind, I'm like, this is pretty cool. I'm writing children books, so it's like being the father of many nations. So I ran with it. So Kiel Eben Ibrahim. So I just shorten it up now for just King Kiel, make it simple. But I've been writing books and publishing books for over. I published my first publishing company was called Forbidden Fruit Books LLC. And with that company, we published about 8 books. 8 digital books was on the Kindle, the Nook, stuff like that. So those books were geared towards dating, fixing credit. My partner, who's actually an author, he had a photography book, so Vel Images. So we published like 2 of his photography books on that, and I had like a dating book and stuff like that. So when I created the Forbidden Fruit books, it was slow. It wasn't like the momentum that picked up with Urbantoons. So when I did that, and I was a little bored of just the traditional book publishing business, and it was slow. So I had an idea to create children books a while ago, but I didn't execute it accordingly. So in the back of my mind, I knew it was something I needed to do, but I was just procrastinating, and my subconscious would not let me let it go. Time would pass. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get to it. Time is still passing. I'm like, you know what? It's time to get busy. It's time to start creating. It's time to get this children book. Let's get these children books out onto the market to our people. So when I created the first 2 covers, I think it was from like Cinderella and Little Red Riding Hood, it went viral. Like people was like reposting it. People showed me mad love. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So I'm like, okay, I'm actually on to something. And I just posted a cover. It wasn't even the actual book. It was just the cover. I mean, trust, the cover did look great. I'm looking at the cover now. It looked amazing. So fast forward, when I, actually had to get the money up to get my books printed and this and that, that was a nightmare. But I did get the first book, which is Cinderella. When it came out, I really didn't like it. It was dark. The first original book, not the book I'm selling now. The original book was really dark. I was absolutely vexed. I was pissed. But fast forward, when I did get the book, I'm like, well, listen, I have 1,000 of these books. I have to move them. Let me take my feelings and put it on the side now. It's strictly business now. Let me get out the creative process of what I do and get into. Well, let me make sure I'm buzzing. Don't want to be talking and I lose anything. No, I'm still going. Let me put some tunes back in my ear though. There we go. A little bit. So when I went to my first event, I said, it's time to recoup this money. I have 1,000 books and I have to sell them so I can get the other books printed. So it's basically flipping. I had to get that money, flip it back, and they get more books. So I do my first event at a Dune Day that goes on in Philadelphia every year. It's one of the biggest African festivals of the country, mind you. I get there, I set my stuff up. I had this little table. I didn't know anything about vending. I'm new to the game. I'm strictly green. I'm really green. I was walking around with a green thumb. And it wasn't for the environment. So, cool. I get there. I set up. I had this little table. I remember my first event. I had this little table. My display was okay. It wasn't the way it is now. I looked to the right. It was a guy selling shirts. And I looked to the left. It was another person selling shirts. Now, mind you, this is back in 2016. Urbantoons was founded in 2015. So I'm a little intimidated. I mean, they have these big, huge displays, and they have these big tables and product galore. But this little table of mine was actually generating money. And I'm looking at the table on the side of both sides of me, and people were walking by. They would look at what I have, and they would just flock and pull right into my table. And I was like, wow. Then there was people who were giving me their money and actually thanking me for creating such a great product. I'm like, all right, cool, thank you. Me, I didn't really know what to expect going out, my first time vending and, doing I never did a vending event before. It's my first one. Now, I'm not shy. I've DJed for 5 or 6 years previously. So, talking to people and being like the life of the party and, controlling the room with music, I'm used to that. So that's cool. But to actually be out there and sell and solicit legitimately, it was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. So people are giving me their money, their praise, like, thank you, thank you. Oh, you gonna do animation? Oh my God, this need to be in the schools. Boop, boop, bop, bop. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. At that moment, I realized, like, wow, I'm really on to something. Even though people, liked the pictures and it went viral, I'm like, all right, cool. But when I didn't have the book first. It took me a year later to get the money up to get the books. When I first put the covers out, then I dropped the ebooks, and they went double wood. I didn't sell too many, and I was a little disappointed, but I didn't give up. So after that disappointment from selling the little bit of ebooks, I'm like, well, I made this big investment of 1,000 books. Let me see how this does, because people were asking me, like, well, I like the book, but I need the book. I need the physical book. I'm like, but I have the ebook. Yeah, I know, but I need the physical book. I'm like, all right. So that actually motivated me to get the ebooks a little bit faster. To get the physical printed books faster. Fast forward, I get the physical book. I have one book because it's really expensive to print 1,000 books. At that time, I'm doing this and I'm driving a propane truck. That's what I was doing to generate the money to fund this Urbantoons movement. CDL. So I have the one book and I'm doing phenomenal. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow, these books are really moving. In my first event, I made $1,000 selling one book. Now I had other covers, or I had another banner of my Little Red Riding Hood book, which was based in Africa. And, I didn't have the book. But people were asking me for the book. They're like, well, I want the Little Red Riding Hood book. I'm like, I don't have that. I have the ebook. Why would you have this and you don't have this book? So it was basically my fault. I'm actually promoting the book, but I was just promoting awareness of the brand and the different products. But people weren't trying to hear that. They're like, what? You don't got the book? People are literally coming at my neck. So I'm like, oh, all right. So it got to a point where I just started lying. I'm like, look, I sold out. I'm like, sorry, people, I was here all day. That was the first book that, people went and they gravitated. It sold quick. So some people was like, oh, all right. They were really disappointed. I'm like, wow. Then still people were coming at my neck. Like, well, why would you come out here with a little bit of books if da-da-da? I'm like, listen, I know, all right. Next time I do an event, I make sure I have all my product in order and go. Fast forward later, this Urbantoons movement picked up more momentum. So I'm like, okay. I took more money, flipped it, took the money from here, flipped it again, created more books. And at that time, I'm at my second event or second and third year doing it. Now I have like 5 books, 6 books. I'm really moving. And everything is moving great. So the start of Urbantoons was, like I said, I was a writer. Actually a poet too. I have a poetry book I want to drop from when I was younger, but later. But from with this Urbantoons situated, was able to actually generate, and what it was actually able to touch people in a short period of time, let me know that I was in the right direction. So let me check to make sure everything is still moving. Thank you for still tuning in with me. How long have we been on here so far? Dang, 15 minutes. Crazy. Yeah, so that was the beginning of Urbantoons. Now I'm going to give into the reason why I started the brand. I know there was such a lack of black books on the market, and I felt bad for our children. I'm like, we're such in a, let me see, let me cut this tunes back on. Let me see, oh, wrong one.
If you were out.
One.
If you were out.
We can rock out with this.
1, 2.
If anyone.
This is pretty smooth background talking music. So, what was I saying? Rewind back. Oh, to start, the lack of diversity. When I started back in, Urbantoons was founded in 2015. It was founded in 2015, but I started creating books in 2014. It wasn't solidified in 2015. I didn't release anything. I didn't let anybody know what I was doing. So when 2015 came, that's when I went and made I went and got Urbantoons Incorporated. Went to the bank, got my INC, did all the paperwork. I did it 2015, and the math on that was my birthday is February 15, 2015. So it was my time. I'm like, listen, this is gonna be the dopest drop for a company. 2015, like super dope. And I just been building from there, building up, filling that lack of diversity with great quality work. I mean, it's a lot of books out there, but a lot of the quality is not as good. And the more and more I've started doing this book game and dealing with different people, and there's a lot of crabby people out here. I can say that confidently. Nobody really want to help you. I guess people think you want to grandstand on them, or even if people I'm in Philadelphia, and if you can make it here, it's like making it in New York. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, and that's real. Because Philly people are a little rough. I love the city of Philadelphia, but it's rough. But I was maneuvering the city of Philly and making it work, and people were supporting me, so it was kind of dope. But I'm going to close this show off. I've been on here for 15 minutes. We're going to get into, let me see, 18 minutes. I don't want to ramble too much, but I'm going to close this show, and I'm going to do more shows, more video content, and let's make more announcements, talk about the different books we have out of the 12 books, give you like a detailed background of each story, future things we're going to do, especially in Africa with the village library. Like, we have a lot of stuff going on in the mix, and things we're waiting for to fall into place. So we're going to take this Urbantoons mission, and we're going to change a lot of people's opinion of Africans and African Americans. I'm going to make sure we're represented in a great way, in a royal way, in a godly way. So that's my mission, that's my objective. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to make sure we look good out here. No cooning, no buffooning, none of that. So I thank you for tuning into the first episode of Urbantoons Radio, and I will be dropping another show next week. I want to start dropping these shows bi-weekly and get into with the podcast and start getting into the video content, and we have a lot of stuff in store. So thank you for all the people who supported this movement. I appreciate you. I humbly appreciate you. And I'm going to close off from here. Peace.